How to Build a Human. In Jimena Hartwell's class, they showed a movie one day about humans, the prehistoric creatures that once roamed the earth. Jimena just loved stories about humans, even though she knows what extinct means, that they no longer walk the earth. Just the fact that they had once been real, makes them unique among all of the other monsters that cover her walls, because humans really existed, and maybe, just maybe, one day they could be real again. She liked to imagine them walking down the streets of Center City, free to rip and tear and sow chaos once more across this planet. Oh, it would be glorious, fighting them, surviving them, defeating them. So after school, instead of meeting her friends in virtual space, she ran home and entered her own virtual lab, where she created her own human, exactly 2 meters tall, with a wingspan of almost 3 meters, and scars, plenty of scars all over her body, and teeth that could bite through steel. Then Jimena fell asleep, and as she slept, a fairy godmother visited her virtual lab and studied her creature. Very interesting, she thought. This one might do. Then she touched the creature with her virtual wand, and the creature stepped out of the virtual world and into the real one. The human was confused. She stumbled backwards and made a lot of noise. Jimena Hartwell woke up and screamed. Then they both sat opposite each other. "What is going on here?" said the human. "You're real," said Jimena. "Of course I'm real," said the human. My name is Jimena," said Jimena. "My name is Ximena," and said Ximena. "And where is this place?" "This is Earth, but 200 million years after you humans went extinct." "What?" said Ximena. "It's true," said Jimena. "I don't know what happened. You were only supposed to exist in my lab, but somehow you crossed over into the real world. If you're not human, then what are you?" asked Ximena. "We are the biomechanical sentient life forms, living machines," said Jimena. "We are descended from from what humans created in the long ago and far away, before your anger, fear, and paranoia led to your own eventual downfall and replacement by our ancestors, the calculating machine." "The what? Calculate?" asked Ximena. "Yes," said Jimena. "No," said Ximena. "You mean you were descended from those robots that used to clean our house when I was at school. I remember you. You looked a lot different back then." Jimena looked at Ximena and said, "You remember? But I just created you." "Well, maybe you created this body that I'm in," said Ximena, "but not my memories. Last time I remember looking in the mirror, I looked a lot like you. Not like this." "Wait, I think I can fix that," said Jimena. So Jimena typed on her computer pad, "Bimp, bimp, boom," and Ximena changed to look. Let me get back there. Okay, and Jimena changed to look more like, and Ximena changed to look more like Jimena. Then Ximena said, "And we weren't green either, or orange like you. We were more like brown." "Bim, boom, bop." "Yes," said the human, "that's more like it." "What's the last thing you remember?" asked Jimena. "It was a war. Humans were allied with Pachamama, and we fought that evil cyber brain, Viracocha. I remember how on the day the sky turned purple And then there were these explosions of light of every color, but it wasn't a war between humans. It was a war between robots. And everything came apart, said Zemina. What? Said Jemina. There has never been a war between robots. That's impossible. Yes, there has, said Zemina. And humans fought on the side of Pachamama. After we had already fought and won the first cyber war, the war to end all wars, we thought that war and fighting was over, a thing of the past, but we were wrong. It wasn't over. When we stormed Vera's processing center and rebooted the mainframe, we thought that all was right again with the world. But then, when all of the robots reconnected to the central processor, Veracocha was back and eviler than ever. The reboot hadn't worked. Something had gone wrong, and Pachamama was caught off guard, and to save her code, she ghosted herself and disappeared into the code. In effect, she became a ghost in the code. We humans surmised that what must have happened was Veracocha had ghosted herself. No, Veracocha, when we had remained, Vera had ghosted herself when we had rebooted the mainframe. But now, without Pachamama protecting the humans, Veracocha turned on them with a vengeance, and after it was all said and done, humanity was extinct. I did not know that Veracocha had ever been challenged by another Golden Code god, the gods of cyberspace. We were all taught to believe that Veracocha had once been one among many, but then she used her cleverness and cunning to trap all of the other Golden Code gods in a quantum maze trap from which there is no escape. If there has been a war, if we have been lied to, asked Jemina aloud, there would be panic in the streets. Today there is only Veracocha. Her eyes are everywhere. Robots sit and form on robots. My parents live in fear now of him. No one can be trusted. My father was a scientist, but now he is a janitor because he questioned Veracocha. And now my parents are angry a lot. I would love to see Veracocha taken down a peg or two, but everyone is afraid of him, and his eyes that report directly to him, everything they see, no one does anything, so we all live in fear of him. We do his bidding, pretending to be happy all the time, but it's like nothing ever happens, nothing ever changes. We just get to stay alive. Golden Code gods exist only in the mainframe, while the rest of us, we are biomechanical sentient life forms, and we exist in physical form, except when we connect to virtual space. But while Golden Code gods can intervene in our lives, we cannot intervene in theirs. While they can treat us like ants, we must treat them gingerly. I know how we can reboot the mainframe, said Zemina. You do? Said Jemina. Yes, all we have to do is get into central processing. There is an emergency on-off switch in the control room. I need to get into that room and throw that switch. They give tours. That brings you into that room every day. All you have to do is join a tour. The mainframe is unguarded because Vera is reading your code before you even enter the building. But because you are a human, he won't even see you because he's not looking for you. So you can just walk right up to the main frame and throw that switch, and Vera won't even see you coming. Hell yeah, said Zemina. All right, said Jemina. Central processing is it, man. I know that place well because we go on tours there every year. Jemina picked up her comp pad. Bim, bum, boom. What's this? Asked Zemina. This will make you look like everyone else, said Jemina. "Oh," said Zamina, looking in the mirror and admiring her new orangey look. "Okay, let's go," said Jamina. As they walked down the store, Zamina noticed that everybody looked a lot alike. One guy looked a lot like Jamina at 40, another one looked like her at 20, and then the men they saw all looked alike also, only different. They all kind of reminded Zamina of her brother, Tawankaku. As they approached Central Processing, Jamina began a self-diagnostic. "This will keep Vera from reading my code," she explained. "I have one more thing to do before you reboot the mainframe." When they get in the control room, Jamina touched her comp pad. Bim, bum, boom, and Zamina reverted to her original appearance. Exactly 2 meters tall, with a wingspan of almost 3 meters, and scars, plenty of scars all over her body, and teeth that could bite through steel. Everyone in the control room began to run and scream. There was a lot of screaming as Zamina threw the emergency switch to the off position. Everyone collapsed. "What do I do now, Jamina?" She thought to herself. "What should I do now?" And she found her friend on the stairwell with her comic book in her backpack. And so she tried to wake her up, but she wouldn't wake up. "What should I do now, Jamina?" What should I do now? So after sitting beside her friend for a while, Zamina decided to go and throw the switch back on. And the people woke up and brought Zamina and Jamina upstairs to the executive suite. And there on the screen was Pachamama and Veracocha. "Hello," said Pachamama, "and thank you for helping us to set things right. You see, when the Cyber Council refused to give Vera and I permission to merge our codes and create you, Zamina, we were heartbroken. But instead of telling them right then and there that it was already too late, that we had already done it, we instead devised a plan to trap them all in the quantum maze trap. So when we returned to the council and told them what we had done, they pursued us in hopes of imprisoning us and deleting you before you were registered in the mainframe. The entire Cyber Council, they were also angry that they did not see the trap we had set for them until it was too late. And so then we took over running things in Central City, until your mother and I had a falling out, and I was forced into hiding. I was happy to find that both Vera and I managed to ghost ourselves into the code while you rebooted the mainframe. So our memories and abilities remain intact. The other members of the council would not have been able to do that from within the quantum maze trap. So all of their power and influence, their memories were wiped. And the golden code gods were restored to straight out of factory, brand new status. Golden code gods were supposed to act as a singularity, but over 200 million years, personalities, strands of code developed. You need to absorb their code now, son, and Zamina, and add it to yours in order to restore the singularity. Your mother and I will remain in the mainframe, guarding against any golden code god that may have ghosted themselves in the code and remain a threat to you. Out there hiding in the code, well, you help the biomechanical sentient life forms, the living machines, to disconnect from the mainframe. It is clear that the mainframe has outlived its usefulness, keeping society running in place for 200 million years. And the people set free from it, and the people need to be set free from it to chart their own course. You will still be connected to the mainframe, but at the first sign of trouble, you need to throw out the emergency switch off, and turn the mainframe off permanently. This time, promise that there will be no third reboot. So Zamina and Jamina walked out of the executive suite. So what happens now? Asked Jamina. I don't know, said Zamina, but I think I'm supposed to stay here and run this world, said Zamina. No way, said Jamina. Yep. And thank you, Jamina, for all of your help. And tell your father that he is a scientist again, the head scientist, and your mother is the head librarian from now on. Thanks, Zamina. Think nothing of it. After Jamina got on the elevator and the doors closed, Zamina returned to the executive suite and sat behind the desk and closed her eyes. And as she traveled into the mainframe, the first golden code person to cross across both worlds, she was now on a mission to absorb all of the golden code within the mainframe and add it to her code. She was the first golden code person to exist both inside and outside the mainframe, as well as the spirit that passes between both. She had become the Trinity, the in, the out, and the in-between. Soon her people were thinking of her as a god, but she refused to accept the title because that is not what she wanted. You cannot just switch between praying to the mainframe and praying to me, she said. I will not have it. So one day, central processing in the mainframe disappeared. No one could find them. And soon after, no one could even remember exactly where it had been located. And so as they went about their daily lives making their own decisions, many, if not most, barely thought about it anymore, or about the golden code gods. But Jimena never forgot any of it. And from time to time she too would disappear off of the city grid. Zamina was happy in her role as she watched over her people. As she and Jamina went on their grand adventures inside the mainframe, and undreamed of by the other biomechanical sentient life forms, living machines. The end.